双语音标领航，注音阅读启蒙，叶兴阳有声读物。
History of Friedrich II of Prussia v6 by Thomas Carlyle. Carlyle's History of Friedrich II of Prussia, Book 6. Double Marriage Project. And Crown Prince. Going Adrift Under the Storm Winds. 1727-1730. Chapter 1. Fifth Crisis in the Kaiser's Spectre Hunt. The Crown Prince's young life being, by perverse chance, involved, and as it were absorbed in that foolish question of his English marriage, we have nothing for it but to continue our sad function, and go on painfully fishing out, and reducing to an authentic form, what traces of him there are, from that disastrous beggarly element, till once he get free of it, either dead or alive. The winds, partly by art magic, rise to the hurricane pitch, upon this marriage project and him, and as for the sea, or general tide of European politics, but let the reader look with his own eyes. In the spring of 1727, war, as anticipated, breaks out. Spaniards actually begin battering at Gibraltar. Kaiser's ambassador at London is angrily ordered to be gone. Causes of war were many. 1. Duke de Ripperda tumbled out now. That illustrious diplomatic bulldog, at Madrid sought asylum in the English ambassador's house. And no respect was had to such asylum. That is one cause. Point 2. Then, you English, what is the meaning of these war fleets in the West Indies? In the Mediterranean, on the very coast of Spain? We demand that you at once take them home again, which cannot be complied with. Point 3. But above all things, we demand Gibraltar of you, which can still less be complied with. Termagant Elizabeth has set her heart on Gibraltar. That, in such opportunity as this unexpected condition of the balances now gives her, is the real cause of the war. Cession of Gibraltar. There had been vague promises, years ago, on the Kaiser's part, nay George himself, raw to England at that date, is said to have thought the thing might perhaps be done. Do it at once. Then, said the termagant queen, and repeated, with ever more emphasis, and there being not the least compliance, she has opened parallels before the place, and begun war and ardent firing there. 22d February, 1727 Shoal. 212. Salmon. Italic. Chronological Historian and Italic. London, 1747. A very incorrect dark book, useful only in defect of better. 173. Cox. Italic. Memoirs of Walpole. And Italic. I. 260,261. 498 to 515. Preceded by protocols, debates in Parliament, and the usual phenomena. It is the fifth grand crisis in the Kaiser's spectre huntings. Fifth change in the color of the world lobster getting boiled in that singular manner. Second, sputter of actual war, which proved futile altogether, and amounts now, in the human memory, to flat zero, unless the following infinitesimally small fraction be countable again. Sputtering of war, that is to say, siege of Gibraltar, a siege utterly unmemorable, and without the least interest, for existing mankind with their ungrateful humor, if it be not, once more, that the father of Tristram Shandy was in it, still a lieutenant of foot, poor fellow, brisk, small, hot-tempered, loving, liable to be cheated 10 times a day, if 9 will not suffice you. He was in this siege, shipped to the Rock to make stand there, and would have done so with the boldest, only he got into duel, hot-tempered, though of lamb-like innocence, and was run through the body, not entirely killed, but within a hair's breadth of it, and unable for service while the sputtering went on. Little Laurie is still living, gone to school in Yorkshire, after pranks enough, and misventures, half drowning in the mill race at Animo in Ireland. For one, Lawrence Stern's Italic Autobiography and Italic, cited above. The poor lieutenant father died, soldiering in the West Indies, soon after this. And we shall not mention him again. But history ought to remember that he is Uncle Toby, this poor lieutenant, and take her measures. The siege of Gibraltar, we still see with our eyes, was in itself nothing. Truly it might well enough have grown to universal flame of war. But this always needs two parties. And Pacific George would not be second party in it. George, guided by Pacific Walpole, backed by Pacific Fleury, answers the ardent firing by phlegmatic patience and protocoling, not by counter-firing, except quite at his convenience, from privateers, from warships here and there, and in sulky defense from Gibraltar itself. Probably, the Termagant, with all the fire she has, will not do much damage upon Gibraltar? Such was George's hope, whereby the flame of war, ardent only in certain Spanish batteries upon the point of San Roque, does not spread hitherto, though all mortals, and Friedrich Wilhelm, as much as any, can see the imminent likelihood there is. In such circumstances, what a stroke of policy to have disjoined Friedrich Wilhelm from the Hanover alliance, and brought him over to our own. Is not Grumko worth his pension? Grumko serves honorably. Let the invaluable Seckendorf persevere. Crown Prince seen in dry as dust glass. Darkly. To know the special figure of the Crown Prince way of life in those years. Who his friends, companions were, what his pursuits and experiences would be agreeable to us. But beyond the outline already given, there is little definite on record. He now resides habitually at Potsdam, be the court there or not, attending strictly to his military duties in the giant regiment. It is only on occasion, chiefly perhaps in carnival time, that he gets to Berlin, to partake in the gaieties of society, who his associates there or at Potsdam were. Sum, the Saxon resident, a cultivated man of literary turn, famed as his friend in time coming, is already at his diplomatic post in Berlin, post of difficulty just now. But I know not whether they have yet any intimacy.
Prus. Italic of Friedrich mit seinen Verwandten und Freunden.
Page 24. This we do know. The Crown Prince begins to be noted for his sprightly sense, his love of literature, his ingenuous ways. In the court or other circles, whatsoever has intelligence attracts him, and is attracted by him. The Roucoule soirées, gone all to dim background for us, though once so lively in their high periwigs and speculations, fall on Wednesday, when the Finkenstein or the others fall. No doubt His Royal Highness knows it. In the Tabix Collegium, there also, driven by duty, he sometimes appears, but, like Seckendorf and some others, he only affects to smoke. And his pipe is mere white clay, nor is the social element, any more than the narcotic vapor which prevails there, attractive to the young prince, though he had better hide his feelings on the subject. Out at Potsdam, again, life goes very heavy, the winged psyche much imprisoned in that pipe clay element, a prey to vacancy and many tediums and longings. Daily return the giant drill duties, and daily, to the uttermost of rigorous perfection, they must be done. This, then, is the sum of one's existence. This, patience, young, man of genius, as the newspapers would now call you. It is indispensably beneficial, nevertheless, to swallow one's disgusts, and do faithfully the ugly commanded work, taking no counsel with flesh and blood. Know that genius, everywhere in nature, means this first of all, that without this, it means nothing, generally even less. And be thankful for your Potsdam grenadiers and their pipe clay. Happily, he has his books about him. His flute,
Duhan, too,
is here, still more or less didactic in some branches, always instructive and companionable.
to him.
The Crown Prince reads a great deal, very many French books, new and old. He reads, among the new, we need not doubt, the italic Henriade and italic of M. Erowid Jr., who now calls himself Voltaire, which has risen like a star of the first magnitude in these years. London, 1723. In surreptitious, incomplete state, italic La Ligue and italic the title. Then at length, London, 1726. As italic Henriade, and italic in splendid for-to, by subscription, King, Prince and Princess of Wales at the top of it, which yielded £8,000. See Voltaire. Italic over completes. End italic 13,408. An incomparable piece. Patronized by royalty in England, the delight of all kindred courts, the light dancing march of this new epic, and the brisk clash of cymbal music audible in it, had, as we find afterwards, greatly captivated the young man. All is not pipeclay, then, and torpid formalism. Aloft from the murk of commonplace rise glancings of a starry splendor, betokening, oh, how much, out of books, rumors and experiences, young imagination is forming to itself some picture of the world as it is, as it has been. The curtains of this strange life theater are mounting, wondrously as in the case of all young souls. But with what specialties, moods or phenomena of light and shadow, to this young soul, is not in any point recorded for us. The early letters to Wilhelmina, which exist in great numbers, from these we had hoped elucidation, but these the learned editor has wholly withheld as useless, for the present. Let them be carefully preserved, on the chance of somebody's arising to whom they may have uses. The worst feature of these years is Friedrich Wilhelm's discontent with them, a crown prince sadly out of favor with Papa. This has long been on the growing hand, and these double marriage troubles, not to mention again the newfangled French tendencies, Blitzfranzosen, much aggravate the matter, and accelerate its rate of growth. Already the paternal countenance does not shine upon him, flames often, and thunders, to a shocking degree. And worse days are coming. Chapter 2. Death of George I. Gibraltar still keeps sputtering. Ardent, ineffectual bombardment from the one side, sulky, heavy blast of response now and then from the other. But the fire does not spread, nor will, we may hope. It is true, Sweden and Denmark have joined the Treaty of Hanover this spring, and have troops on foot, and money paid them. But George is pacific. Gibraltar is impregnable. Let the Spaniards spend their powder there. As for the Kaiser, he is dreadfully poor, inapt for battle himself. And in the end of this same May, 1727, we hear, his principal ally, Tsarina Catherine, has died. Poor brown little woman. Lithuanian housemaid, Russian autocrat. It is now all one. Dead she. And can do nothing. Probably the Kaiser will sit still? The Kaiser sits still, with eyes bent on Gibraltar, or rolling in broad imperial inquiry and anxiety round the world. War outlook's much dimmed for him since the end of May. Alas, in the end of June, what far other jobs post is this that reaches Berlin and Queen Sophie? That George I, her royal father, has suddenly sunk dead, with the solstice, or summer pause of the sun, 21st or 22d June, almost uncertain which, the majesty of George I did likewise pause, in his carriage, on the road to Osnabrück, never to move more, whereupon, among the simple people, arose rumors of omens, preternaturalisms, for and against, how his desperate Magira of a wife, in the act of dying, had summoned him, as was presumable, to appear along with her at the great judgment bar within year and day, and how he has here done it. On the other hand, some would have it noted, how the nightingales in Herrenhausen Gardens had all ceased singing for the year. That night he died. Out of loyalty on the part of these little birds, it seemed presumable. See Kohler, italic, Munz Belustigen, and italic X, 88. What we know is, he was journeying towards Hanover again, hopeful of a little hunting at the gourd, and intended seeing Osnabrück and his brother the bishop there, as he passed. That day, June 21st, 1727. From some feelings of his own, he was in great haste for Osnabrück, hurrying along by extra post, without real cause save hurry of mind. He had left his poor old maple of a mistress on the Dutch frontier that morning, to follow at more leisure. He was struck by apoplexy on the road, arm fallen powerless, early in the day, head dim and heavy, obviously an alarming case. But he refused to stop anywhere, refused any surgery but such as could be done at once. Osnabrück, Osnabrück, he reiterated, growing visibly worse. 2 subaltern Hanover officials, Privy Councillor von Hardenberg, Kammerherr, Chamberlain, von Fabrice, were in the carriage with him. Gottfried. Italic, Historische Chronik and Italic, Frankfurt, 1759. 3. 872.
Boyer.
Italic, The Political State of Great Britain. End Italic, Volume 33. Pages 545,546. King chiefly dozing, and, at last supported in the arms of Fabrice, was heard murmuring,
C'est fait de moi, t'es sur le verrouisme.
And Osnabrück, Osnabrück, slumberously reiterated he, to Osnabrück, where my poor old brother, bishop as they call him, once a little boy that trotted at my knee with blithe face, will have some human pity on me. So they rushed along all day, as at the gallop, his few attendants and he, and when the shades of night fell, and speech had now left the poor man, he still passionately gasped some gurgle of a sound like Osnabrück, hanging in the arms of Fabrice, and now evidently in the article of death. What a gallop, sweeping through the slumber of the world. To Osnabrück, Osnabrück, in the hollow of the night, some say, 1 in the morning. They reach Osnabrück, and the poor old brother, Ernst August, once youngest of 6 brothers, of 7 children, now the one survivor, has human pity in the heart of him, full surely. But George is dead,
Careless of it now.
Cox I. 266 is indebted to his friend Nathaniel Wraxall for these details, the since famous Sir Nathaniel, in whose Italic memoirs and Italic, vague, but not mendacious, not unintelligent, they are now published more at large. See his Italic Memoirs of the Courts of Berlin,
Dresden.
and Italic and C. London, 1799. I. 35-40. Also, Italic Historical Memoirs and Italic, London, 1836. 4. 516-518. After 67 years of it, he has flung his big burdens, English crowns, Hanoverian crownlets, sulkinesses, indignations, lean women and fat, and earthly contradictions and confusions, fairly off him, and lies there. The man had his big burdens, big honors so-called, absurd enough some of them, in this world, but he bore them with a certain gravity and discretion. A man of more probity, insight and general human faculty than he now gets credit for. His word was sacred to him. He had the courage of a Welf, or lion man, quietly royal in that respect at least. His sense of equity, of what was true and honorable in men and things, remained uneffaced to a respectable degree, and surely it had resisted much wilder puddle of muddy infatuations from without and from within, if we consider it well, of irreconcilable incoherences, bottomless universal hypocrisies, solecisms bred with him and imposed on him. Few sons of Adam had hitherto lived in.
He was,
in one word, the first of our Hanover series of English kings, that hitherto unique sort, who are really strange to look at in the history of the world, of whom